Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Today's guest is Jessica Judd, the owner of Stagecoach Stables. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you.
This isn't your first time. You've been on, I believe, with Hayes Ford.
Yeah, with the Rotary.
Right.
The drive events.
Right. And are you still at Hayes?
I am.
Right.
Yeah, a couple days a week.
So you do a little of everything.
Yeah.
Right. Your latest project is your business, Stagecoach Stables, or is it new, or have you just expanded?
So we lived in Morgan, the last place before this one, and I told my husband that we needed to be somewhere where I could horse year round, whether that was down south or around here. So we started looking at properties, and none of them just really fit the bill. And then we came across this property, which just so happens to be on the same road he grew up on.
Right.
And we knew it was for sale for a few years, but so we bought this property, and we established the business in 2019. So we've been there for 2 years, and we've just been changing it. And last year we built an indoor riding arena. That was going to be the new big addition that would kind of make this business complete.
So did you grow up with horses?
I did. I had a shabby-looking one-eyed Palomino as a kid.
And did you always know you were going to grow up to be the owner of a horse stable?
In my 8th grade yearbook, I was voted most likely to own a horse farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So where do you get your horses locally, or do you have them?
I'm really lucky. The horses that I have that I use for lessons, the horses that I barrel race, I got him from a local rescue. He's a fantastic athlete. One of my lesson horses I got free off Craigslist, and he was sold for $165,000 as a yearling.
Oh, really?
Yep, earned a ton of money on the racetrack, and then just people didn't take care of him, and he ended up really skinny and lame, but he's a fantastic lesson horse. And I have a couple others that I've just came across that, other people didn't really want, and they've been a great addition to the program.
How many horses are you up to?
Myself?
Yeah.
I have 6.
Right.
I have 6.
And, probably this isn't the favorite term of horse lovers, but you know what some people call horses? You've heard the term hay burners, right?
Yeah, I call them furry hay pigs.
Oh, okay. I knew nothing. I know very little about horses, but for a while our neighbors had some horses across the road.
I remember that.
And they had way too many in there, and they would escape in the middle of the night, and here I was, so they wouldn't get run over. I had no idea how you get those things back in. I did find out, I guess the older ones usually are much more, you can handle them a lot better. The young ones, they just wanted to play, I think.
Usually. I just had one of my boarders just turned 27 last week, and she's a firecracker. Super, super good horse, but yeah.
Do they all have different personalities?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. So I usually come up with like a voice, like an idea of what I think their voice would be like based on their personality.
Right.
So yeah, they're all very individual.
Do you ever run into a horse you just didn't like?
Yeah, plenty of them, but definitely I'm really, really lucky right now. The horses that I have at my boarding barn, they're all fantastic. They're all great, great horses.
I have a grandson. I have a feeling he's going to be built like he could be a jockey, as in he's like 4 years old, but the interesting thing is his grandparents on the other side, they have horses, and he just absolutely loves horses. He loves watching them race on TV. He's 4 years old, just loves jockey racing. He loves watching bunking broncos, but you let his grandmother try to get him near a horse. No, But he loves everything horses, but just don't want to be near them.
Right. So we have a lesson program, and sometimes kids come like that. Sometimes parents just want kids to get involved with horses. It's just something that, you know, they want them to be a part of. So we do lessons, and we do them for all ages. And so we have some kids, we have some adults, and more it's starting to be a therapeutic route for a lot of people. So I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I had started my master's, so I could do equine therapy. So we'll see if I finish that at some point. But we have a lot of people calling that want to bring their kids as a therapeutic.
I know, I don't believe he goes to yours, but he's often posting photos. Tristan Jeffrey, who was born with Down syndrome, and he seems to just love the time he spends with horses.
Makes a huge difference. It really does. We have 2 weeks of summer camp coming up in July.
Right.
This is our first time doing summer camp, so I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Right.
And we have a couple kiddos coming that, you know, different issues, you know, ADD, you know, on the spectrum with autism. So I'm really, really excited to work with them and see kind of how they blossom throughout the week.
Right. Is this a job, a passion, or both?
It's definitely a labor of love.
Right.
Tons of work go into it. You know, a lot of people don't see a lot of the behind the scenes thing. We do all of our own haying.
Right.
You know, so you know, we really like to have quality hay, so that's really important to us, and we get our hay tested every year, and that helps us work on knowing what else to do to have even better quality hay for the following year.
Right. And I think I read that, now don't you have your own farrier now too?
Yeah, my son went to school in Oklahoma
Right.
to be a farrier, so that's...
Now
yeah.
explain what that is to people. I'm the only, to tell you the truth, the only reason I know what a farrier is, that official word, is I have friends, Stan and Jane Chop of Newport Center, who have a couple horses, and I was there that day when they were working on the horses' feet. So explain what a farrier does.
So, you know, they do the trims, they do shoes, they do corrective shoeing. So he did a very intensive program for 8 weeks in Oklahoma, and he was shoeing, I think, on his second day there. But they learn a lot about natural balance and shoeing for the horse, not the owner.
Right.
So he has had a client where he turned them down because they wanted him to do something that he felt would be really detrimental to the horse. So yeah, it's great to have him on site. You know, if we have a boarder that loses a shoe, he puts it right back on. And
Now, I'm going to ask you a really dumb question from a non-horse person. What does a shoe actually do for a horse?
so it picks their foot up off the ground. They have the sole on the bottom of their foot and
Right.
what's called the frog.
Right.
So the shoe picks it up off the ground so that it's not directly landing on it. Basically, it's the same thing a shoe does for us.
So what about horses in the wild? How come they don't need shoes versus the ones who don't live in the wild?
They're more normally on rougher terrain, you know, and it's just a lot about evolution,
Right.
you know.
You ever tried to? Occasionally, you'll see that they're selling wild horses. Have you ever tried that route before?
No, but I want to. It's definitely a bucket list thing
Right.
of mine. I'd like to go out and get one or two and train them.
Right. I've been out west and I've seen some of them out there. But on the other hand, I've also seen a lot more in Arizona of another critter you have. You have a donkey, but is it a miniature donkey?
Yeah, we have two.
And
Two.
What do they do?
Um,
Look good.
My vet says that they are useless as the day is long, but truly they're not. One of them I take to nursing homes and to the schools, and you know, we're frequent visitors there. The residents at the nursing home just absolutely love him. He'd been registered to be a therapy animal. They're just nice little critters to have around.
Yeah, yeah. They might be useless in some way, but I just think they're so cute. Are they animals actually know they have, like, I think they have a lot of charisma, just in their own way.
Huge personalities.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Huge personalities. So different than a horse. Some people think they're similar to a horse, and they're not. They're so much different.
Now, what is the difference? So a donkey is so where does mule fall in? Is a mule a cross between a donkey and a horse, or?
Yes. And I don't know a ton about it. I don't know a ton. I know there's hinnies, and that's if the mom is a horse and the stud is a donkey.
Right.
So there's mules, there's hinnies. Yeah, I don't know a ton about them.
Yeah, no.
They're just cute.
Yeah. So you also so you do train, and you train people to ride?
We do lessons. Yeah, we do lessons. We do, I have a 3-year-old that comes, and, I have some older people that come.
Do you board horses too?
We do. Yeah, we have 2 barns. One of them I keep for my horses during the winter, and then we have the boarding barn, which is attached to our indoor riding arena. So our indoor riding arena that we just did last year. And then it gives everybody a place to ride during the winter. And we have the inside of our barn.
Where are some of your horses?
So we have some of the horses out to pasture. We really are pretty particular about our pastures. We like to manage our pastures well so that the horses, have quality pasture year round.
Now, in my world, as writing history, my wife is the behind-the-scenes brains of the outfit, but she also tolerates my passion. Is your husband is he like you, or does he say, "Go for it, this is your baby"?
He's very supportive of my passion. I barrel race, so he comes to some of them. He does like to go. He meets up with other horse husbands there. So we usually have a good time.
All right, and here's a picture of you barrel racing. Now, what is barrel racing?
So it is a timed event. There's 3 barrels, and you do a clover leaf pattern around them. You can start to the left, you can start to the right, as long as you complete the pattern.
Right.
The way it's supposed to be. And I travel to New York, Maine. I'm actually registered in New Hampshire. That's where I accumulate points for the year. I qualified for Worlds 2 years ago, so I can go to Worlds in Perry, Georgia this year to compete.
Are you going to?
Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully.
Now, as I said, I'm not afraid to admit when I don't have a clue what I'm talking about, and I don't, is horse trailers. When you're going down the road, is the horse strapped in, or they just stand there and go, how do they not fall?
So they have, like mine is a slant load.
Right.
So they do have a little room on each side, but they go in and they all stand at an angle.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and
I've passed horses and horse trailers, and I've often, or cattle trailers. I thought, okay, because did you grow up so are you the Newport or Coventry end where you lived?
Coventry. I went to Coventry school.
Right, and so I grew up in the city. I was a city kid, Newport.
Yeah.
And so I didn't grow up around a lot of livestock other than maybe chickens. Mm-hmm. So, and you also have a store.
Yeah, we have our tack shop. So one of my friends owned a tack shop when we first bought this place, but there is a small building on the property that would have been perfect for a tack shop, but my friend had already owned one, and then so I didn't do anything with it, and then she came to me and asked me if I wanted to buy her out, so of course I did. So we have a tack shop right on the property, and then I haul to all the barrel races, and I set up as a vendor. So it kind of supports my barrel racing habit, and it ties in good with the boarding business.
If you had to look back at time, even though said you're going to own a horse, you're going to own a horse stable someday from your youth, did you really think you would? Is there any chapter of your life where you thought you weren't going to be doing this, or did you always know this was what you were?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I had my first child at 17. I was kicked out of high school. I never wanted to be that teen mom. You know, after growing up poor and then going through all of that, you know, I just knew I wanted to be something better. I was the first in my family to go to college. You know, it took me a lot of years with working full time and trying to be a single mom to get the degrees that I got. But, you know, some people say to me, well, you're just not happy with what you have. And I am more than happy with what I have. But with every goal I reach, I set a new goal. So it's not that I'm not happy. I think there's always room for improvement.
You must not have a lot of sympathy for people who say, "Oh no, I can't do that," or "I."
No, not at all.
Or for people who just won't try.
No, and some people are just fine with living that day to day and just, I guess in my eyes, just settling. And I'm just not. I want my obituary to be a mile long with accomplishments.
I know where you're coming from, because I would never have imagined I would be doing what I'm doing now and what I have done. But on the flip side, my idea of what success looks like is totally different in different people. Like, one of my lifelong friends works for the city of Newport on the road crew, and he loves it. He knows, you know, he goes to work, he pays his bill, he has a good family, and he has a bait shop, and that is the look of success. And I look at Dan Collins as a very, very successful.
Absolutely.
And because I think it's really what what you want to make of it, and I think in many ways, our destiny, we're in charge of our destiny.
Absolutely.
And
but Dan loves to ice fish.
Oh yeah.
Right? So the job he has affords him the ability to do that.
Right.
You know, and that is success.
Yeah, and he just, because sometimes I almost envy Dan, even though, so I assume you know Dan then, is I would pay for Dan, because his whole world is Orleans County. I would pay his airline ticket to see him get on an airplane, and he assured me, not going to happen.
Yep.
So what's your future for the stables?
So I'm not really sure. You know, this has all been kind of a whirlwind. You know, opening the tack shop, and the tack shop has been hugely successful. We have, you know, when I do a live sale online, it takes me the entire next day to prep packages, get them mailed out. You know, the support that I've gotten from so many people, you know, our Facebook page is growing like crazy. I go to and set up at the shows, and I just have so many loyal followers. So I'm so lucky. I'm absolutely so lucky to have the supporters that I have. But I don't know, I'd like to grow the lesson program. At some point, I'd like to do trail rides. I'd like to do guided trail rides. We have 69 acres and a bunch of land around us. But the insurance for that is pretty high. So I definitely have some more ideas brewing. Summer camp was a big addition this year to the business. So we're not done yet.
Well, maybe I'll have to send my wife out there, because she grew up around horses, and we've been married 36 years, and I've managed to avoid getting on a horse for that many years, because now she always liked horse riding as a kid.
Yep.
And both of my sons, they married horsewomen.
Oh, nice.
So one who lives in New Mexico, he's ridden horses down in the south and the west, and then my son in Maine, his in-laws have horses, so my daughter, no horses there. But how did you get into barrel racing?
So I just did local gymkhanas, so games on horseback,
Right.
with friends, and then I got this horse from the local rescue,
Right.
and he was very slow, and I didn't even like him at first, and he just did not seem athletic at all. And then I just kept working with him, and then, you know, I was noticing that he was pretty athletic. I worked with a trainer, and she told me that he would never be anything. So I just kept doing what I was doing and working with him. And I did send him away for 30 days to a trainer in Massachusetts who's a friend of mine. And she really really uncovered his potential. And he's just fantastic. We ran 22nd out of 164 riders in Maine this past weekend, which, you know, is big, you know, and we're like, even with that too, we're not done yet. We're coming for the top.
So are these horses that you get from maybe less than desirable arrangements, you know, if where they had lived, or are they kind of like, say, wayward children, in the sense of you get wayward children and get them into the right environment and they can blossom? It sounds like horses are the same way.
Yeah, and this horse he's registered, you know, he's purebred. He has fantastic athletic bloodlines.
Right.
But yeah, he just ended up there, and he just needed some dusting off, and he needed to use his body correctly in order to be able to do what he's doing.
Now,
But
how many children do you have?
3.
Are they into horses?
My 21-year-old is the farrier, and then I have a 10-year-old, and he used to do some things when he was little, and now no, he just doesn't care.
Right.
Not at all. And then I have my 8-year-old, and he travels around with me to every single race. Always, he's hauled through the night with me to Delaware and back. He doesn't leave my side, and he has a horse of his own, and he barrel races as well.
And what do you get out? You know, you get trophies, but what do you get out of these races?
So you can win money. You can win some pretty, you know, good money. And you can win saddles and prizes, and, you know, we go for points with the chance to go to Worlds. But just like I was explaining to somebody said, because I traveled for 8 weekends in a row. 8 weekends in a row, I lived in my horse trailer all weekend long. Hauled my tack shop around, and somebody said, you know, why do you like this so much? And it's the people. It's the people. I hear them all, you know, screaming for me and cheering for me when I come in that gate, and that's the best part for me. It's finally something I feel like I fit into.
Right. And is it like do your competitors, even though you're competitors, do they really want to see you do well?
Absolutely. Right. The kind of the circle, you know, that I hang with, and most everybody anyway. You know, you can go up to the girl that won the entire day, you know, with the fastest time, and say, hey, could you help me with this? And she would be more than willing to help you. And that's what I love about it. That's
what a lot of people don't understand, is I believe there's more team spirit in what people consider individual. Like, you know, I'm from a running family, and there's more team spirit within the running world than there is in, say, the football or hockey world, where it just crosses all levels, it crosses everything. It sounds like horse racing's the same way. Of course you want to win.
Right.
But
yep. And, you know, even if you can't be in the winner's circle, then you really need to be cheering on everybody that is.
Right.
Absolutely.
You think your other boy will ever catch on, or you think he's going to?
No.
What about your husband?
He likes classic cars.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of, you know.
So what about your husband? Does he do anything?
He trail rides with me. Right. He loves to trail ride. He never wanted to get on a horse, and then I talked him into it, and then he realized that he really loved it.
And you have a photo of him too.
Yeah. So he'll trail ride with me, and he trail rides.
You're not going to get him barrel racing now.
No, he said that's not what horses are meant to do.
Now, what about all this other stuff like roping and everything?
I would love to try it all.
Right.
Someday.
Yeah. So have you spent that much time out west?
No, we went to New Mexico 2 years ago to spread my father's ashes. Right. It was just one of our family friends lived out there. It was my agriculture teacher from school. She was a family friend, and she was out there, retired. So my dad never got out to see her, so we took his ashes out and spread them out there. And it was just... Yeah, it was really neat to say that. I would absolutely love, because they rodeo constantly. That's what they live and breathe there.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it, because I do have attachments to the west, and I travel out there, and Yeah, you can go to all these
Yeah,
things.
any night of the week usually.
They have a wide variety of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So no, I think if I recall right, your father always wanted to go west, but he never. Before he passed, he never made it.
Nope, he didn't, and he always wanted to, take me out there to the rodeos and some of them shows, and so.
I would actually, if I were you, I'd kind of make it a priority because I have except the only thing is the area might lose you because I'm going to tell you from a non-horse person's perspective, when I go out there, I can think of, boy, you'd love it.
I know.
You'd be absolutely in your element.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to come back.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But there's the other thing too. I don't like snakes, and you have the snakes. And when my son was in Oklahoma, they were on tornado watch all the time. So do I just deal with the snow? But yes, if I went there, I don't know. And a lot of my friends, my younger friends that barrel race, they've gone down south. There's just more opportunities.
Right. Now, are you going to try to make more? Are you going to have you hosted any barrel races up here?
No, so we didn't build an outdoor ring that was big enough, and I didn't really want the liability and the responsibility to do it, so I'll just go to everyone else's.
Right. Okay, we only have a couple more minutes left. How can people learn more about you? Internet?
So we do have a website,
Right.
And we have our Facebook page. We have a separate Facebook page for the tack shop and the boarding business.
What is your website?
It's Stagecoach stablesboardingfacility.com.
Right. And then you have just on the, you have Facebook.
We have Facebook.
And do you have a number?
I do. It's 802-274-8723. And that's my number. It comes right to me to schedule lessons or
Right.
if you're interested in boarding.
Is your clientele growing?
It is. I have an instructor that does most of my lessons because I'm too busy. So she teaches Western and English, and we have a good lesson program right now, but of course we always want to grow it.
I saw you you posted it. You said you never envisioned yourself in the English attire. Is that
Yeah.
right? And now why didn't? Yeah, because you look like a cowgirl.
Yeah.
But then to see you all
Fancied up in the English.
fancied up.
I took my barrel horse. I just want to give him a different job. I always want him to love his job.
Right.
So I just did something different with him. I don't always want him to think that the arena is
Right.
for running in. I took him and just changed things up a little bit for me.
I bet you
down.
felt more comfortable though in the Western look than you do English.
Oh, for sure. That was hard that day, but it was fun. It was very fun. I'm actually going to do it again at the next one coming up.
I actually love seeing your photos of you because, as I said, I don't know anything about horses, but I love watching your site. And I hate Facebook in so many ways, but then there's so many great things. You get to see, new things, and watching you evolve into this has been great. And there's many other people I've watched who, they're not the people that just sit around and complain about their plight in life, but they're doing things. And I just love following, and I've followed you, and that's why you're here.
Yeah. I just love to live my best life. And, after watching my father, passed away at a young age, and, I know he talked about in the end having regrets about things he didn't do, and I just don't want to be that way.
Right.
So every single day I use as an opportunity to, to do something.
Absolutely. That's what you got to do, because you know what? We're not promised tomorrow.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.